Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukutali.
And a wonderful morning to you. Jolly good morning. This is Newsline, live as always from the Newsfirst studios in Dorset Street in Colombo, broadcasting on TV1, a proud member of the Capital Maharaja Group. And this morning, on the country and the world wakes up to the sad news that 007, that very epitome of a gentleman's spy, Sir Roger Moore, has died at the age of 89 after a short but brave battle with cancer. Licensed to kill and to thrill, James Bond, played by Sir Roger Moore, in 7 fabulous films that included Live and Let Die and The Spy Who Loved Me. In Sri Lanka, of course, our very own Bond is still very much alive and well, being investigated by a special presidential commission. And at News First, you can rest assured that we will be covering every aspect and investigating every little detail, bringing you all the news and helping you stay connected with the important events that's going around that will affect your lives. And on that note, this morning, our guest is Mr. Lasil de Silva. Yes, the former Secretary of Presifac. And a very good morning and welcome back.
Very good morning, Faraz. Good morning.
Wonderful to have you, Mr. De Silva.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Now then, can you tell us, the great shuffle has been carried out. The cards have been shuffled, but, you know, the jokers are still in the pack. Will this cabinet reshuffle, which has been, it's nothing new, it happens all the time, but over here, in this current ambience, in this unity government, will it make a difference?
Can I say, so much is being manipulated by just a few for their own benefit. I don't think it will serve any purpose, because it's like musical chairs. A government needs to have a system of governance in order to make life easier for the people, right? Now, Jeremy Bentham, long years ago, about 150 years ago, said, the greatest happiness for the greatest number. I don't think this is all directed in that way, for that purpose.
This is the greatest happiness for the least number.
That's correct.
That's what's happening.
That's what is happening.
So you are skeptical that this reshuffle will not really make a big difference?
Now, about, say, a little more than 2 years is gone already, right? Yeah. It's not a government at its childhood.
Right.
We expected a lot immediately after the elections, after the 8th
So
of January.
The infancy has passed, now we're in maturity.
We are in maturity, right? So by this time, there could have been a lot more results to be seen. It is unfortunate that we have not been able to see. And let me say it this way. What we saw was also during the 100 days, that was again the 19th Amendment and, strengthening of Parliament.
Yeah.
But in fact, say whether it is strengthening of Parliament, whether when it comes to the Cabinet of Ministers, right? Now, they are charged with the responsibility, say, direction and control. Right? That's what the Constitution specifically says in Article 42. It is sad whether there is direction and whether there is control. Unfortunately, it is not there. There is so much of waste, so much of corruption.
But where's the commitment gone to? The commitment to eradicate corruption, to get to the bottom of these accountability and responsibility issues, the transitional justice, it's all sorts of things that is that's missing. So what about the commitment?
Yeah, this is the thing, now in the first place, say, state capability, say, all that will come, provided there is representation well, there is, oversight well, there is legislation doing a fairly, expected level. But unfortunately, when the Parliament is not sufficiently efficient, similarly, when the Cabinet is not effectively performing, what we see is what we have experienced so far.
But Leslie, can I ask you this? You've claimed in the past that you were also part of bringing this government into power.
Yes.
Right? Now, how do you feel now? What now?
Basically, I would say people, I think, got it's people could not be able to. Now we can't say that we have achieved the goals. We have been able to, we have been sadly let down. Shall I say it that way?
You've been let down. But isn't this a bit rich? It's almost like the former Chief Justice Sarat Silva. He said, he apologized for the decision he made about Mahinda Rajapaksa. Well, it's a bit rich, because, that's monumental blunder. You can't just say sorry and get away with it.
You can't certainly.
I think maybe there should be some sort of penalty value.
Definitely.
Remove the pension or something drastic.
Yeah, but in
that's what I'm trying to say to you. You're saying, well, we made a mistake. How do you correct the mistake then?
I think you need political will, right? Say it is unfortunate that at the early part, prior to the elections, they gave all the promises.
Do you think that this government, led by Ranil Wickremesinghe, the Prime Minister, has the necessary will, your words, the will to have a clear commitment to fulfill the promises that they made, especially when they've been out of power from about 2004, and even then it was shared, and there are so many of their people waiting in the wings to make money. And isn't that why corruption is so high?
This is one basic reason, because it was proved beyond doubt, right? Now, they play all the games in order to hold on to power.
Yeah.
There is nothing other than the only thing that they want is power. Basically, having obtained power, at the moment, what you could see, they changed ministries in order to send a message that they are trying to do something for the benefit of the country. Why do they do all that? In order to retain power, because the country, largely everybody, said the Minister of Finance, right? There are accusations in regard to various, I would say, incompetencies or whatever in that respect. It came to a situation there was protest, or at least there was dissatisfaction among the masses. And in order to accommodate the masses, or at least to send a signal message to the people, okay, this is a new step, and that's what the president also said. This is being done to turn a new lease of life in the government. But the biggest problem is by changing, the ministers, whether it could happen that way.
Earlier you said musical chairs, but the way I know musical chairs, you take out a chair from every end. That's not happening here.
It's not really
there are more chairs being added.
It's more chairs being added, right? That's it.
Now, you said that you admitted that you part of the wider effort to bring about a change, which you all did, and now you admit that there's a breakdown in delivery. So, are you going to join the ranks of the people who are saying, well, sorry, and then walk away, or are you saying, sorry, we made a mistake, but we are trying again to do something for the betterment of the people?
Actually, that is what needs to be done. The people.
What about you personally?
Even it is my personal opinion too.
Yeah.
We can't just forget the fact that we have a duty to fulfill towards the people, towards the country,
to society,
to the society. Yes, right. And I think we are at it. We are convinced that unless we do that, this should not be allowed to be passed on to the next generation, basically.
Right. I see. Right. Well, where do the people start? What will happen? You are a nifty observer of these matters. What will happen?
Now,
isn't this cabinet reshuffle all rather very pedantic?
I think, for them, as we discussed earlier too, actually they wanted to send a message to the people to say that they are trying to correct, and rectify the errors and put it on the track. Again, back in the same square, same place.
But honestly, what can we expect? We've got a designer as the Minister of Finance, maybe a good designer, who knows? That's a bit of opinion really. But we've got a designer as the Minister of Finance. We've got a person with a commercial background who was the Minister of Finance only in part, the 1/3 Minister of Finance. He's sent to tour the world as the Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Now, yesterday I think we saw in news, now he said the shoes are too big, and it is basically because there were people like, Dr. N.M. Pereira, Felix Adais Bandaranaike, Ronnie Dibel.
Yes. Those are difficult acts to follow.
Yeah. Now, and he assured anyway that he will be able to face the challenge and deliver the goods. But the problem is, politicians promise all kinds of things. Ultimately, whether it happens is the biggest problem.
But this best finance minister in Asia, with all due respect, Ravi, he got 2 buttons wrong. It was left to our dear president, and thank God for the executive presidency, because that's the check and balance. Because, he's sat there and he's watching, saying, right, is that really what they're doing? No, you can't tax the people more and more and more. So if there was no president, only God will know what will happen. So, thank God for the presidency.
Yeah, and it is fortunate that the president has all the powers. President took the decision and corrected it. But my biggest problem is whether there aren't people who could definitely do these, carry out these responsibilities like in other countries, whether it is in Singapore, France, or
Why
England.
can't we have ministers who are sort of like executive chairman? Just there to steer the direction. And why can't we have professionals running government?
I think it is very important to take important decisions, like, say, to bring in capable, educated people to do politics. At the moment, I don't think good, capable people join politics. Basically, this change needs to be done, and I personally feel the president, the prime minister, they don't look.
But it's a closed
elsewhere.
club. It's a closed club.
This is the thing.
Lasso. Most people say, the people deserve what they got, what they voted for. But the people can't vote for anyone other than who is in the pot.
That's the problem.
And it's the party leaders, it's the party people who feed the pot. So if you keep feeding the pot with rubbish, when you fish in that pot, you're going to get rubbish.
Definitely.
There's no big logic in this.
Actually, that's the problem right now we are facing in the country. Because
and there's not a single political party in this country, is there, that is committed to raising its own funding so that they will not rely on electoral funding from the corporate world.
Unfortunate situation, this electoral system also needs to be changed, that there are a lot of assurances given that they would do that, because then they will permit, basically others like professionals to join. Nothing had been done so far. Those promises are yet,
Yes.
hollow promises given to people to date.
Well, can you compare our cabinet of ministers, our parliament, or our cabinet, let's say, with Singapore?
I don't think we could compare with other countries like
Singapore. But in
Singapore,
most of the cabinet ministers have got a kind of a relevant job.
Yes.
They've got a relevant job.
Yes.
Why
Unfortunately,
can't we aspire, in our country, put it this way, the other day you saw all these ministers turning up at the presidential secretariat. This was like the Dubai Road Show, motor show. We had all sorts of cars worth fabulous amounts of money. They just trooped in. Now, so they aspire, these are the kind of cars that are used by politicians in the decadent West, in the West. Okay, but now, so they aspire to those things, but why can't they aspire for the same levels of greatness when it comes to doing their job?
That's it. Now, let me start with the same issue you just raised. Now, I was told during the Independence Day, you know, a diplomat from the West told me, when you look at those cars, you just can't believe that it is Sri Lanka, and asked me why your government doesn't spend all that money for education, you know, make those investments to create jobs. This is the problem, unfortunately, right? So in order to do that, you have to have people, moral, ethical, actually those who respect, you know, say at least needs of the people, who understand what is needed by the people. And if they can have people, the politicians who think of the needs of the people and then accordingly give them on that basis, I think all that could be done that way.
But Lassie, don't you agree that as we see and as the frustration levels of the people are increasing and reaching boiling point, don't you think that there is, if you imagine in Sri Lanka, a lot of money is being spent by parents and others to educate the young, and they go abroad, they come back, and they're waiting in the wings. And don't you think that soon, rather than later, there will be young, bright, energetic, visionary people with commitment who will give these current politicians a run for their money?
I'm in touch.
Do you think that will happen?
Certainly, I'm in touch with most of the youngsters and similar youngsters who have come from overseas with exposure overseas, right? Actually, they are not happy with the current system, and I believe they want, you know, a good leadership, good set of people to come forward and change, give a start, so that they'll be able to lead the country a lot better than what the present day politicians are doing.
In that sort of way, isn't this why programs such as our Gammadda program, is that why this is successful? Because our Gammadda program reaches straight to the people, to their hopes, to their aspirations, to their frustrations. It addresses, it delivers. And we aren't the government. We are the Maharaja group.
I know. Now see, it has proved to be so successful because you have gone to the people, you have understood the needs of the people, and basically you know the pulse of the people. So naturally the politicians also, it is their duty to go and find out basically what the burning issues are, right? Education, transport, health, all that, right? You all have gone in and you have found out that water, schools, most of the facilities are not available. So naturally these youngsters who we just discussed about basically are frustrated because they don't have opportunities.
If you spend some time here and look at the young executives in this group, they're all bright, enthusiastic, committed to what they do. And when there's an opportunity for them to get off and go to the people through this Gammadda program, nobody's asking them to do anything. They do it on their own because they are self-starters. They're proactive. They're not reactive. They're proactive. And they go all over the place. You must have seen this.
I have seen, definitely.
So do you think that's the difference between our politicians and, because the commitment?
Now let me say it this way, right? Now you have created a set of people who are committed, hardworking, intelligent, right? Say, who take risks to perform their duties. Now look at the public sector. It is very unfortunate we don't have that kind of people who can take decisions, who can push through their projects, who can, work independently in order to deliver.
Let me ask you a question, Lassil.
Yeah.
Do you think the time is nigh now?
Yeah.
For a new political force,
this is
composed of people who share the commitment, who share the passion.
That's it.
And who share the pain of the people.
Correct. I think this is what the people...
Do you think the time is now?
I think the time is right for change like that now, basically.
Do you think we're in the cusp of change?
Basically, it is so.
And where will you be?
I will be with the new group of people because we want to give them the leadership.
Not a new group composed of old people.
No. Actually, we want to set
a
up
positively new group.
A new group of people who are independent thinkers, you know. Basically, now we have seen how the public sector works, how the politicians work. But unfortunately, it is our duty to give them whatever the support, the strength, what is possible. Because we know there is so much that could be done for their benefit so that in future they'll be happy, they'll be a lot more, you know, things will change for the better.
You know, the other thing about, you know, we spoke about young executives. Believe me, Lasso, you've just come in the car park.
Yeah.
How many Mercedes-Benzes did you count?
No.
There aren't any.
Yes.
There are loads of little ones,
yeah.
and there are bikes and so on.
Yes.
And some just turn up. I don't know how to turn up. They don't need these things to go out and do what is in their hearts.
No, but I think the politicians have set the bad example. You know, that is the wrong leadership. They have sent wrong messages. Now, everybody in the public sector or whether it is in the society, you know, when the politicians send wrong signals, they think it is not good to do hard work. Then they think it is not good to be honest. Then they think that it is not good to be dedicated, right? They think of various other devious ways to make money, the quick, easy way.
The quick fix.
Right, yes, right? So this kind of thinking, this has to be changed. And this is what we are trying to do, this is what we are committed.
So you can't change that. You know, you heard the old saying, haven't you? You can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah, but, you know, I mean...
Nor can you change the spots, yeah?
Yeah, but basically our thinking is we don't want to serve wine in a new bottle. We want to change the whole thing.
Actually, you want to change the wine too?
Yeah, we want to change the whole thing, you know. So unless you do something like that, because we ourselves have got fooled, you know, cheated. That should not be the case with regard to the youngsters, because they have, I know, in 1971, 1989, and again during the, you know, even the LTT, the war lasted 30 years. Why did they come out? Social injustices. There need to be, you know, a duty on our part to rectify. Even if we have to die, we should do that.
Now, we're going to play this little clip of the comparison of cabinet ministers in two other countries in the region.
Yes.
Let's listen to that, because that's enlightening.
Sri Lanka's government consists a total of 225 members, out of which 47 are cabinet ministers. The government consists of an additional 20 state ministers and 25 deputy ministers. On the 15th of March this year, the Daily News newspaper, quoting Professor M.O.A. de Souza of the University of Peradeniya, reported that 94 of Sri Lanka's parliamentarians do not even possess the basic qualification of an ordinary level examination.
It is disappointing to say that 94 of our MPs do not even have S's or C's. They only have 25 graduates of the 225. So it is sad that MPs who do not even have S's or C's in their results sheet are now being maintained through public funds. This is unacceptable.
This, we are led to believe, is the educational standard of Sri Lanka's public representatives. In Singapore, with a population of over 5 million, 20 of the 22 cabinet ministers possess a minimum qualification of a postgraduate degree. Singapore's gross domestic product, or GDP, in 2015 exceeded $290 billion. India, with a massive population of 1.3 billion people, has 26 cabinet ministers and 49 state ministers. A majority of the cabinet ministers possess a degree in law. India's GDP in 2015 surpassed $2 trillion. The United Kingdom, which has a population of over 65 million, has 23 cabinet ministers, including the Prime Minister and Chancellor. 10 of the UK cabinet ministers are either Oxford or Cambridge University degree holders, while the others all have degrees at other reputed universities in the UK. Britain's GDP in 2015 was over $2.8 trillion. By contrast, Sri Lanka, with a population of over 20 million, has a total of 92 ministers in the government. This includes 47 cabinet ministers, 20 state and 25 deputy ministers. In 2015, Sri Lanka recorded a GDP of $82.32 billion. The educational qualifications of the ministers are not accessible. In other countries, this information is easily available. Why not in Sri Lanka? Newsfirst made a request from the Secretary-General of Parliament under the provisions of the Right to Information Act to disclose the educational qualifications of our parliamentarians. The Information Officer of Parliament has replied in writing, agreeing that a response to our request would be given within 14 days.
All political parties expressed their willingness to follow this criteria on the 12th of March 2015. However, we do not see these political parties taking steps to follow this. This can be seen in those groups that are in Parliament. In Singapore, it is mandatory for those wishing to be cabinet ministers to have postgraduate educational qualifications. Since of late, those representatives in Parliament who do not possess adequate educational qualifications were elected to Parliament through the power of their wealth and other means.
Well, our media has not given up the fight. We'll fight to the end. We will get to the bottom of all these requests for information, however pedantic the responses sometimes have been. So, Leslie, there you go. That was a comparison between us and them.
Yes, correct.
And so what hope? New party? Will that... Is that what is needed to fix the problem? Is that the morning fix? This is very quickly you need to say this.
I think that is the need of the hour, basically, because there are two main parties, and especially, again, you know, the role of the opposition.
So what would you say to the listeners out there? Identify a group of people
who could
young,
lead,
visionary,
yes,
committed,
to make the change,
passionate,
to make the change.
To make the change. I hope you will be part of that change.
Definitely, we will support. We will support.
Because you can't be coming and saying sorry.
No.
Life's too short.
No, definitely. We will definitely support a group of people who will come forward to make this change, because...
And it'll be too late now to say sorry anyway.
No.
Well, you know, Leslie, it's always nice when people people are willing to fight the fight and to walk the talk.
Correct.
But our opposition is an absolute blessed disgrace, isn't it? What opposition? What are they doing?
This is the problem.
Do they understand the concept of being in the opposition?
This is my grouse. Now, I was in Australia for the last 3 or 4 months. Basically, what I saw in Australia, now, Susan Ley, the former health minister, right? She had defrauded, or she had misused her travel expenses amounting to $3,100.
Yeah.
Now, the opposition, you know, attacked her so much, the media, including the ABC, Australian Broadcasting Corporation, every day out, day in, until she left. She had to leave the place. So in our country, however much, you know, it is the task of the opposition to question the government as to why these things are happening and take similar steps in order to, you know, say, to fulfill their role.
Yeah.
It is unfortunate that the opposition too, in our country, you know, the biggest problem is they cross over.
The biggest problem here is that there is no opposition.
There is no opposition.
We are the opposition,
We are the opposition.
not Mr. Sambandar.
No, we are the opposition.
And I don't know what on earth that Mr. Sumandaran is doing either.
Yeah.
Because all these people, I mean, perhaps we'd like them all to declare their status of their citizenship. Because we have reports that many have options, Canadian options.
Right, yes.
I don't know. We're working on finding out and getting this information. But this opposition is an absolute blessed disgrace.
Correct.
The people of the former conflict areas, of course, they're suffering. They continue to suffer. And these are making trips to South India and traveling the world, drumming up and being mischievous, really, for want of another word. Their delivery, they couldn't even get agreement. The people of in Kilinochchi, they couldn't give their agreement that the water levels over and above 24 feet in the reservoir could be pumped up to Jaffna, where there's only 2% of the people have running pipe-borne water. They couldn't even agree that.
Yeah, this is the problem. This is the problem.
And you know, they're loading it about in fancy cars,
yes,
and in top-end suits and so on.
Correct.
And traveling the world, forgetting that they made some solemn promises to those people.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's in their interest to keep the people as they are.
I think that's what they do, because even when you think of education, right, they cut down all the... Now, ultimately, during the last, say, 2 decades, there are about 1,500 schools shut down in rural villages.
As we end today, very quick question, very simple. Who was the minister you were investigating when obviously you were removed?
I would definitely say it was really Rishad Baduddin's issue.
Thank you. We don't really have much time, but you've given us the answer.
Yes.
We'll discuss that at length. In the meantime, Lassel de Silva, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on Newsline. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, and thank you for your being so candid.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that's it from Newsline on Wednesday, the 24th of May, 2017. Take care. God bless.
Newsfirst, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.